Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of If Margaritas Could Talk, the Over 40 Chronicles, and I'm your host, Tracy Black. Welcome to 2025, everybody. This is our second season and the first episode of 2025, and I could not be more excited. And with me, as always, is my fabulous co-host, Kira Wilding. So let's get Margarita spicy on life and love today.
Hey, listeners out there. Thanks for having me back again. It's always so exciting. Okay, let's grab a margarita or your beverage of choice and let's hang on tight.
You know it. I love a great margarita. Like I don't know what kind of margarita person you are, but I'm like a lime margarita on the rocks with a non-salted rim.
Exactly.
I like a little sugared rim, not a salted rim.
I don't like salted rim. I am original margarita on the rocks. Prefer not to have it frozen. No salt. I need to watch my salt intake. That is my absolute favorite.
You betcha. We're right on the mark.
My language.
Right on the language right there.
Yeah.
So when it comes to spilling the tea and talking about dating, what do you think, or what do you think is important about dating after 40? Like, take it from your standpoint.
Oh, dating after 40. Yeah, that's definitely not for the faint of heart, is it? Do you watch Drew Barrymore when Leslie Jones was on her episode and they were talking about dating and she said there should be an app called What's Left?
Absolutely. That moment was like a historical moment in time when Drew spit out her drink all over the place because you knew exactly what Leslie Jones meant by that statement.
Oh, absolutely. I think I spilled out my drink as well.
So let's be real, right? After 40, we've all had enough bad dates to fill an entire tequila bottle. Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
So what do you think is one of the worst? Like, I don't know. I've thought about this a few times. Like, what's the worst dating habits that men and women have today?
Yeah, dating habits. Two probably worst things is what they call it, catfishing and ghosting.
Yeah. Have you seen The Tinder Swindler?
I have. That was interesting. It's first of all, he's a scumbag and should have got more than 5 months. But those women, like he got 5 months. These women are still paying off like a mortgage, right? How many years later, and they're still paying off this mortgage? So
yeah.
Of like $250,000, and all he got was 5 months, and he's now doing online sessions on how to improve your business, and he's making a lot of money.
Do you think, is it possible at all that the women are a little bit responsible?
Yes,
What's
I do.
your take on that?
Yes, 100%. I think there has to be a level of greed there because let's face it, he was portraying to be the son of a billionaire. His life was being threatened. He couldn't use his credit card, and these average, women, I mean, they were beautiful. I'm not saying that they were average, but I mean, they weren't rich in their own means. They're the only ones that could help him. He doesn't have a team of accountants and lawyers that could assist him.
That brings up a good point. That brings up a really good point.
Yeah. So I definitely do think that there was a motive on these on the side of these women that, hey, I'm going to have a big payoff here.
Right. So from an intentional perspective, right? If he had the intention of taking advantage, women then have the intention of wanting to receive more than what they have in their life now. Do you think that's what the goal? I don't know. I think about like in the world of dating after 40, it seems like such a hot mess out there. And watching that show, I was like, I don't know, all of my spidey senses, maybe it's just called it intuition, but there has to be a point where you have to go, something is not right here.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of going on the flip side, or maybe not the flip side, but kind of under the same vein as the Dr. Phil episodes when these 60-year-old women, vulnerable, they've lost their husbands, and they are being enticed by these men from Africa. I mean, they're portraying good-looking Caucasian, men, and they've, their phone is always broken. They can't speak to them. They need money. They're, whatever. And these women are sending tens of thousands of dollars to these men, and they prey on the women definitely women over 50. The ladies that don't understand computers so often. They're very vulnerable. They just want so hard to believe, and they want that love. They're so desperate to find love. They cannot see what's in front of them. It's sad. It's very, very sad.
That kind of brings to a good point, though, is like, how do you know somebody's authentic, right? How do you know that the authenticity is there from the male perspective in regards to whether somebody is telling the truth or not when you're putting yourself out there online? I mean, I don't know. I think like even there's another one that just came out called Sweet Bobby. Like it's just another situation where, we're talking about the, what do you call them? The, oh my gosh, I can't remember what the guy's is about anyways, regardless, taking advantage of women that are probably very honest and sincere online, have sort of, this expectation or goal in mind where they want to know that there's something out there in the next version of their life, and they're looking for true love. And the hard part about it is that the catfishing, that's the word I was looking for. This Sweet Bobby is a catfisher. And, my spidey senses are way too high. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe my standards are higher. Like if somebody's jerking me around and there's a bunch of stuff that happens right off the hop at the beginning, you have an intuition that goes, ding, 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 listen to this. It's not like, this isn't what you think it is.
No, for sure. And you're definitely a reasonable person that would go, hey, there are red flags here. There are, if somebody's not FaceTiming you, being, if you have any advice for these women who are saying, hey, Tracy, a friend of yours, I met this guy online and, we've been trying to FaceTime, but his phone's always broken. Read those red signs, bring them out. Cause I think there are women, especially women of an older generation, maybe, who have been widowed or single for so long, and everybody wants companionship. And like, let's face it, the biggest way to meet somebody is online.
Yeah, I have to agree.
And it's such a pool for deception. You really have to watch those red signs.
The literal what's left. The literal term of what's left.
What's left. Yeah.
That's going to be, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be introducing a new app called What's Left. And feel free to join or not. Anyway, I think when it comes to the element of dating, the element of the trust factor, I think you and I were talking about this the other day where I said, I don't know if I could feel confident enough in trusting somebody after the age of 50, 60 to get out there in the world of dating. My best friend, she's in, her 60s, and she just outright said, no, I'm done. And I get it. There's a lot of stuff that's out there. I can imagine that, isn't so spicy, but we need to talk about the spice. So I'm all for it. If margaritas could talk, they'd probably say, hey, sweetie, please, let's get it together. Knock it off with the jokesters online. But, it is what it is.
Absolutely. Just like a good margarita, we all deserve a little flavor and sparkle in our lives. Not some watered down version of a date. I hate watered down margaritas. Oh, God.
Hey, and speaking of margaritas, okay, guess what, guys? Here is our joke of the day. So, Kira, what do boobs and margaritas have in common?
What, Tracy?
1 is not enough and 3 is too many.
Oh. Oh my God.
You have to admit,
even 3 margaritas is never too many. Come on.
Depending on how strong
But I like the
they
joke.
are.
I like the joke. So what do you think is the definition of a spicy life? It's like that quote, variety is the spice of life. As we get older, do we take as many risks in life, or are those risks, do those risks get spicier? What do you think?
That's a really great question. We're not in our 20s anymore. So I do think about this all the time. Realistically, most everyone after 40, like almost all of us, are set in our ways and not interested in change or compromising, right? So,
Or, sorry to interrupt, but I was thinking, or could it be that women over 40 are trying to check off their bucket list items, which could be very spicy in itself, like going skydiving or taking a glass blowing lesson, or maybe meowing every time you get an email at work?
what?
I don't know.
Can you imagine a symphony of meows from every cubicle in the office? That would make a great office prank. I think it would be. Anyone listening, don't forget to video that. Okay. Wink, wink. So if you have an office prank you want to do, every time you get an email, make sure everybody's on board and you meow. That's funny. But back to the original question.
Sorry, I digress.
Change or compromise. Like, I don't think I would. I don't know. I'm not, I know when we talk about having relationships with other people and there are certain annoyances that they have, we equally have annoyances, but maybe, our partner, our spouse doesn't necessarily talk about how annoying or what the little tricky things are that we do. And then you go, oh, I'm this great partner. And then later on you find out that you had annoyances as well. I don't know. I'm just kind of going off the cuff thinking, I don't know. I think it comes down to, is it compromise or is it not? Is it change?
Do you kind of take it easy? Do you take those big risks? What was the last big risk you took, Tracy?
Oh, it was a big one. I got remarried the second time. And, you are older and wiser and you sort of hope that you have figured it all out. But then you realize, and I get it now, because here's a funny thing. When you look at your grandparents and, your older aunts and uncles and people that are, of a different generation than you, it's obvious sometimes you go, why are they so annoyed all the time around this person, or a little on the cranky side or whatever. I think I'm reaching that point. I'm getting a little cranky as I'm getting older, probably because I don't have, I think I'm full of there's, the capacity for the tolerance of certain things. I'm over it. I have no more space for it.
Yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying with that. As I'm getting older, I don't care as much as what people are going to think. So I think because of that, I'm freer to speak my mind. I was the biggest people pleaser. I still am, and I wish I would have learned this in my 20s. By speaking my mind, people respect you more. They know what they're going to get. I no longer care. I do care what people think. But I care more about my integrity and going, no, I'm going to say my piece. I'm not just going to agree with you because it's going to save, an argument, or it might lead into a bit of an argument or a discussion. I'm done with that. I don't agree with something, I'm going to say it. And, we can agree to disagree. We could say our piece, but I'm done pleasing people.
Yeah. I think a lot of women, maybe even a lot of men. I don't know. Men, I haven't really taken a poll with men to see what I think the toleration level when you hit a certain age, it either comes out in a positive way, or it comes out in a negative way. And I think, again, like we were talking about previously, is like tuning out the noise, right? When you're tuning out the opinions of other people, someone is free to give their opinion, but it doesn't mean that we're going to have to listen to it nor take it to heart. When it comes down to being sincere and honest in relationships and being your best version of yourself, I think that's where a lot of women are today. Women are over the age of 40 saying, we've had enough. There's so many odds that have been set against women for so long in the workplace and relationships. And I mean, you name it, right? Just in society in general. Mm-hmm. So when you change that dialogue to all of a sudden, I find I'm putting more value on myself. I think the reflection of that goes in, it comes out, you get a better response out of the things that you want in life and the way that you communicate and so on. So
kind of like higher the risk, the higher the reward.
You bet. Yeah, you
But
betcha.
speaking of risk, so back to the original question, do you, for you, when you're thinking about taking risks, are you more reserved because we're older, or are you kind of throwing caution to the wind going, I don't care, I'm going to take those risks. I'm going to start checking off my bucket list. Would you be the person that would be more inclined to skydive and say, I don't care if I'm over 50, I'm going to do it? Or would you go, ooh, I'm over 50, I better not do it?
Yeah, I see what you mean. I think for myself, I'm afraid of heights, so that won't work.
so
that's a terrible example.
Skydiving.
I tend to find that I take risks all the time. Actually, I put investment back in myself, and that's something I've learned as I've gotten older, that you don't know if you don't take a risk and you don't try, because then it sits in the back of your mind going, hey, why didn't I do that then? Or why didn't I do this then? Or I should have, I could have, I would have. You can always say that. But you know what? Here's a straight up fact. Time is not on our side. 2 moments are not the same. Mm-hmm. So you take upon yourself to make that decision. And if dating is part of that realm and you want to be spicy in your dating or spicy in your life, comparatively to the good tasting margarita, I think you have to make that choice for yourself. I don't think there should be pressure. I don't think that anybody should feel the need to have to please other people anymore after a certain age. I think that it makes sense to honor yourself as a woman and the remaining years of your life, however you choose to do that.
Well put.
Right? Hey there. Have you ever heard about permanent jewelry? It's this amazing trend where you get custom fit pieces that you never have to take off. It's absolutely about style and convenience, making your look effortlessly chic. Trust me, once you tried it, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. Life is forever beautiful with kindredfusion.com.
But do you know what I've done every once in a while? When I find myself getting into that slump of not taking chances, or if I've been like, you know what, this is week number 2 and I really haven't done anything, is saying yes to absolutely everything, unless it's something that's going to put, like risk your life or put yourself in danger, or if it's against your moral fiber. Somebody calls you up and says, hey, do you want to go treasure hunting? If you don't have anything planned, say yes.
Yeah.
We so are like, no, I'm just going to stay home and, I'm going to watch TV. If you have nothing planned, say yes.
I think people have become, and that's where the comfortable part comes in, I think.
Yeah.
Some people just are like, no, I've done the things. I've gotten out in my, and that is the other factor too. Remember, depending on where you are in your life, if you set out your life early and you accomplished a lot of stuff, and then you're now ready to sort of settle in and settle down and have a little less of the bucket list stuff, that's okay too, right? Because to each person is their own, their perception is their own, how they choose to live their life is key. And, I like a little spice. I don't know about you, but I like a little spice.
Oh, I like spice. I like it spicy.
Do we have another joke? I thought we had another margarita joke.
Oh, yes, we do. Hold on. Let me see if I can think of one. Oh, yeah. What is the difference between a man and a margarita?
Oh, a man and a margarita. Do tell.
The margarita hits the spot every single time.
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. So here's a question for you and our listeners out there. What is the definition of a spicy relationship?
Oh, spicy relationship. Well, I think it's definitely that element of surprise, novelty, and adventure. Something you haven't tried before, like adding a new spice to the dish. You might like it, you might not, but go out and try it. Do something different in a relationship.
Yeah. I think that we're here to remind everyone that life after 40 can be just as exciting, spicy, and full of laughter as a good night out with friends and margaritas.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're in a relationship or even a friendship, and again, don't say no to things just because you've never done them before, whether it's a relationship or a friendship. Try the new things. Make a monthly date with your boyfriend. Let's do something different that we've never done before.
Do you think that it might be, do you think it might be easier that when people say, next time, or I'll take a rain check or so on. Is that still a thing? Like, do people still do that?
I think they do. And what I find a lot is you make plans with friends, and then the day before or the day of, they cancel. Something came up.
Right. Life gets in the way.
Absolutely. And life gets in the way, and you have to cancel. And, I find it happens more often because I think we're just we want to sit and scroll on our phones, and we can't be bothered to get up. I think COVID changed that a lot. I don't want this to get into a COVID conversation, but I definitely think we are more comfortable in the last few years of just staying at home. And I fall into that trap as well. And I'm trying to get out of that. I want to go out, like, plan things with your girlfriends, plan things with your boyfriend, plan things with your partner. Just get out and do it.
I know, like, speaking for myself, I think I am a seasonal person. So here where I live, we do have all 4 seasons. And one of the things that's interesting is that obviously when it's like spring has sprung, summer is approaching, the weather's better, your mood, like a lot of my moods I find are based off of the season, right? So if it's gloomy and wintry and kind of gross, you tend to want to you want to hibernate a little bit more and not be as explorative. I understand that it's like, I don't know, even this past Christmas, I think there was a lot of people that I heard from that said, we're kind of just taking it chill. We're really relaxing this Christmas, and not really, people weren't in the vibe of Christmas this year. There was something that was off. There was something that was different. It felt different for a lot of people. And then you fall into that, hey, let's just, Netflix and chill for Christmas or whatever. I get it. And for those people that are out there that might be seasonal travelers or seasonal people who have moods based off of season, that's a real thing. So if you're looking for love and you're trying to spice it up, is it important to be, if you're aware of that's the kind of person you are and your personality as you've gotten older and those changes have happened, does it make it important when you're looking for a mate, when you're looking for a spouse or even just a companion?
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. I think the most important thing is do what's going to fill up your bucket, right? Like, what's going to fill your bucket are you that person that would absolutely just rather stay at home? Then stay at home. Don't be pressured to go out. But if you want to get out there and, your bucket is being filled by hanging out with your friends and, spending time with your partner, with loved ones, go out and do it. Because we do get into that really bad habit of just hibernating at home. And that's not necessarily a good thing either.
So between love being spicy and life being spicy, what do you think is the higher of the two?
Life or love?
Yeah.
Well, I think they're probably interchanged. Like, they go hand in hand, right?
I think it depends on the person, really. Some people will put life over love. Some people will put love over life. Think about that for a second. Maybe the person that they want or the thing they're seeking in their life is to have that companionship for the rest of their life. And so they will put a spicy love life over having, and then their regular life being secondary. And then other people will have it the reverse, where they will put everything into their life and have love be secondary. Think about that.
Yeah, no, definitely a good topic. Because I've got girlfriends that have sworn off men, and they're just happy with their girlfriends. And I've got my girlfriends. I need my girlfriend time, but I want to share that. I want to share my time with somebody special as well.
I hear.
I want to curl up at night with my partner and, have those special moments. But I also don't want to forget about my friends.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a complicated web when we get into I don't know. I'm a little more relaxed now. So when I think about putting love over life, I'm kind of in the reverse. It's my redemption year. So I've decided, I'm going to do all the things that are going to create that spiciness that really fill my cup. And not necessarily bucket list items, because there's a couple bucket list items, but things that you find your voice after a certain age. Like you were saying before, you're not afraid to be open and really be honest and really transparent. Whereas I think when you're younger, those things they sort of just, you let life happen as it happens. You don't really actually have your set out intention is not necessarily to be like, oh, I must have, all of these things laid out in perfect order, in my early 20s or what have you. You sort of just wing it and fly by the seat of your pants. Majority of people out there now, the newer generation, that I don't think that that's their situation at all. But, I, even speaking in regards to my son, I mean, he's, in his 20s and he's like, it's hard to date. And I go, really? He goes, yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. Oh God, I definitely would not want to be dating not that I don't want to, but dating is absolutely very different than when we were in our 20s, for sure. I mean, we didn't have the apps. We didn't have what's left.
It's competition.
It is. Yeah.
It's a higher value of competition is the way that I look at it. And I'm sure like all the experts out there in love and life, what have you, I'm sure they probably agreed. When you think about pop culture and what goes on in the world, everybody's competing against everybody, especially when you're looking at Instagram models and these guys who have money and they're floating their money around. And, you've got guys who want older men who want younger women, and then older women who want younger men. It's a thing out there. It happens. It's going around.
Yeah.
So which is,
absolutely.
In my opinion, it's just like a spicy margarita, but I would never turn a different type of flavor of margarita away.
No, you might like it. You might like it for sure.
You might like it.
So, hey, to all our listeners out there, don't be afraid to shake things up, whether it's a new recipe, a spontaneous adventure, or a wild date. You deserve it. Go out and try it.
Yeah, that is right. Cheers to that. And remember that if life gives you lemons, make sure to mix it with tequila and call it a margarita.
Absolutely. Or limes.
Stick around, everybody. Yep. We'll be back with more laughter stories and maybe a few more margarita recipes that, I don't know, and some jokes. So we'll throw that out there. And always remember to keep your love and life spicy.
And don't forget, we want to hear your margarita stories too. What's your funniest dating experience? Let's get those margaritas talking. Because what would they say? What would they say?
Until next time, keep sipping and not spilling the margaritas, by heaven's sake. If you are loving our podcast, please like, follow, and share on your favorite listening platform. And you can always stay informed at www.ifmargaritascould.com. Stay tuned for next week's episode on pivoting in 2025, everybody. We are so happy it's 2025, so cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
And thank you so much for joining us. Talk soon.
Great chatting with you, Tracy.
Bye.